Thrusters. If you don't get at least a little bit nervous when you hear that word, then you've obviously not pushed hard in a CrossFit workout. This video, we're going to be looking at some points of performance that really can help you improve reps. Thrusters have been around since day one of CrossFit. We've seen it in the open, where you have to do 1 rep max thrusters. Infamous workout, Fran, 21:59, thrusters, pull-ups, Jackie, where you just have an empty barbell. And let me tell you, doing thrusters with an empty barbell is also tough. So we have thrusters littered throughout CrossFit workouts. And if you do these things properly, it will make your life easier when performing the movement. One of the reasons that the thruster is a challenging movement is you have to move the weight in such a large range of motion. And that's one of the reasons why people struggle, especially if you're tall like me. You've got a long way to go to get to that range of motion. So shorter people tend to like thrusters, taller people not so much, but that is the way of life. So let's look at some of those points of performance. I am very lucky to be joined today by Thiago. He flew in all the way from Argentina just for this video. But the first thing we have to do with the thruster is look at where you're holding the bar. And this front rack position is really important. So Thiago's just going to take the bar and hold it onto the shoulders. And what we want to have here is that the bar is racked neatly on the muscular part of the shoulder, and you'll notice that he's holding full grip. The elbows are slightly in front of the bar, and this is going to be important both for the front squats and the press component, and then also the ability to re-rack. One common problem that you'll find is that people release the bar, if you just let the hands go, in order to get the flexibility. The trouble is that when you're then having to transition to press overhead, you need to re-grip, and this makes the movement inefficient. So this is the first point. You need to have a full grip front rack on the bar, and if you don't have the mobility for that, you can check out this video where we look at improving your front rack mobility. So once you've got the positioning of the bar sorted, we're then going to descend down into our front squat. So Thiago's going to take the barbell, put it into the front rack, and we're now going to come down into the front squats. So one of the biggest things here that we want to try and achieve is that we can keep our torso as upright as possible. So you notice here Thiago's pretty upright. We've reached the squat requirements, and what the upright torso is going to do is allow the bar path to travel forward. If the bar path or your hips start to travel back, what you'll notice is it becomes very inefficient. When you're coming down and then coming back up, you don't get this piston efficient like movement. We're just going to try and show like one bad version of the front squat so you guys can see.
18 doing 20, that math straight out of hell now, sorry.
So what you'll have noticed in the bad rep is that as Thiago went forward, the bar obviously had to travel forward. That makes it more efficient, one, in the front squat, but then two, also when you're having to come back and press overhead, you're not going to be as an optimal position. The final component of the thruster is really transitioning, using this leg force and drive to press the bar overhead. In the same way as the front squat, what we want to try and do is minimize the flexion or movement of the torso. So as I'm coming out of the squat, we're going to drive with the legs, use that momentum on the barbell, and simply press the bar overhead. So we're just going to look at one full thruster now, and then just pause overhead.
Yeah, sometimes the silver lining don't look quite silver. Sometimes you were Fred, and sometimes you were Wilma.
And what we'll notice as we're overhead, we're in a solid position. The way we create a solid position, the head is slightly in front of the bar, and we've created this platform where the bar is just resting directly over the shoulders, over the hips, and over the center of gravity in the foot. What you'll notice there, as we said in the first point, is that we've managed to maintain full grip on the bar when we press up, and that's going to be important when we come back down into multiple reps. If you're having to release the bar into the fingers, it gets very tricky to complete a smooth movement. One question we get asked is, how wide should your grip be on the barbell? And this is a little bit of an interesting question. As you start to get more advanced with the thruster, what you'll find is some people can go a bit wider, and that shortens the range slightly. But arguably the most important thing is that you're comfortable when holding the bar in the start position. So Thiago just grabs the bar, And you'll notice what Thiago did at the start. On the barbell, you have this knurling, which is rough, and then the smooth part. And that can be a really good measure because it makes it even. You can use your thumbs, and if you use your thumbs to measure that distance, it then means that we have a slight gap between the edge of our shoulder and our hand. If you go too narrow, what can end up happening is your fingers can get trapped under the shoulder, and it's just not as comfortable position. So to sum up, you want the hands to be slightly wider than your shoulder to give you space. The wider you go, the harder it is for your flexibility, but it can shorten the range of the reps slightly. What Thiago's going to do now, just so you guys on the video can see a difference, we're going to show 2 bad reps and put them side by side. So we're going to do 2 bad and then 2 good reps, just to spot some of those points of performance in action. There's one more thing that I want people just to pay attention to, and obviously it starts to matter more when the weights get heavier. But really, when you're coming out of the squats, you need to generate some momentum so you can transfer that into the press overhead. If you're coming out too slowly, what you're going to find is you're relying too much on the upper body, and that can throw you out of position. It's also harder to finish the rep as well. So there are some prerequisites for doing a good thruster. Front rack mobility and also good squat mobility are really important. We're going to put 2 links in the description below where you can check out those videos on how to improve. However, once you have mobility, making sure you stay disciplined in the positions is really important. Let us know how you get on. Let us know if you have any specific questions that we can answer in the comments below. And I hope you enjoyed the video.